Thor is the son of Odin and Jord, the earth goddess. Thor is the strongest of the Aesir, the principal race of Norse gods. They lived in Asgard with the Allfather Odin. They ruled the lives of mortal men. Thor married the goddess of fertility Sif. He also had a mistress named Jam Saxa, whom he had two sons with, Bagni and Modi, and a daughter named Frud. Thor was described as a large, powerful man with a red beard, flowing hair, and eyes of lightning. He was very popular because he was protector of both gods and humans alike. Thor rode through the heavens on his chariot pulled by goats. Lightning flashed whenever he threw his hammer Mjolnir. Mjolnir would return to Thor's hammer after being thrown and was symbolic of lightning. He also wears his magical belt, which doubles his strength. Thor was very well known for his quick and hot temper, which is often vented on the giants, the main enemy of the gods. Thor now lives on in Thor's Day, also known as Thursday. Loki is the trickster god of Norse mythology. His father is the giant Thorberti, and his mother is Laufey, who could be anything. Loki is the father of Hel, the goddess of the underworld, Jormungand, and Fenrir. He is also the mother of Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse Odin rides. He demonstrates a complete lack of concern for the well-being of his fellow gods. Loki helps both the gods and the giants depending on which is most pleasurable and advantageous to him at the time. For his many crimes, the gods forge a chain from the entrails of Loki's son Narfi and tie him down. A venomous serpent sits above him, dripping poison onto him. Loki's wife sits at his side and catches the venom with a bowl, but she has to leave to pour it out. When this happens, the venom drips onto Loki, which causes him to writhe in agony, creating earthquakes. Odin is the son of the half-god, half-giant Besla and Bor. He is married to the goddess Frigg. Their sons are named Balder and Hod, though he has many mistresses, such as Jord. Odin is the ruler of Asgard. From his throne he can see throughout all the 9 worlds. He has 2 ravens which are a part himself, Hugin and Munin. They bring him the news from all throughout the world. The weapon he wields is a magical spear called Gungnir, which can never miss and will always kill. It is made from Yggdrasil's sacred ash and carved with Odin's secret runes. He only has one eye because he sacrificed the other to Mimir for the wisdom of his well. He has also stabbed himself with Gungnir and hung himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights. Doing so, he learned the secrets of the runes. The modern word Wednesday is named after Odin and comes from the Germanic word Wotan, which means Odin. Baldur was one of the most loved gods. He was a son of Odin who began to have dreams of a grave misfortune befalling him. Odin wasted no time mounting his steed and riding to the underworld to consult the dead. When he got there, they were preparing a feast for Baldur. A witch recounted how the god would meet his doom, only stopping when she realized it was Odin. Odin returned to Asgard and told the gods what he had heard. Odin's wife Frigg, yearning for any chance to save her son, went everything in the 9 realms and obtained oaths not to harm Baldur. After these oaths were secured, the gods made a sport of it, throwing anything they had on hand at Baldur, and everyone laughed as these things bounced off him and left him unharmed. Loki sensed an opportunity for mischief. In disguise, he asked Frigg if everything swore oaths to spare Baldur. She said yes, except for mistletoe, so Loki went out and found some. He approached a blind god and handed mistletoe to throw at Baldur. So the god threw it and killed Baldur. The gods knew this event was the first sign of Ragnarok, so they tried to prevent it. One of Odin's sons went to beg the goddess of death for Baldur. The goddess Hel said yes, if everything weeps for him. Odin's son rode back to Asgard and told this to the gods. Everything in the cosmos wept for him except Loki. Thus, Baldur was not brought. Ragnarok is the end of gods. When the god Baldur is killed by Loki is when it starts. They knew they couldn't escape their fate. Odin took a great deal of time selecting the best human warriors to join him in the final battle against the giants. Deep down they knew their actions were in vain. At last the pseudo-god Loki and his son Fenrir had escaped and set about beginning Ragnarok. Yggdrasil, the world tree that holds the 9 worlds, began to tremble. The all-seeing Heimdall was the first to see the vast army of giants headed for Asgard. Loki was at the helm of the ship Naflagar, and Heimdall sounded his horn to alert the gods. The giants set about destroying Asgard and the entire cosmos along with it. Fenrir ran across the lands with his lower jaw on the ground and his upper jaw in the sky, consuming everything in between. Even the sun itself was consumed. Surt, a giant bearing a flaming sword, swept across Asgard and left nothing but an inferno in his wake. The gods fought to the bitter end. Thor and the world serpent killed each other, as did Surt and the god Freyr, and likewise Heimdall and Loki. Odin and Tyr both fell to Fenrir, who was then killed by Vidar, Odin's son, but the gods still fell, and darkness reigned once more. Though eventually Baldur returned from the underworld, the gods would return.